Hi! Welcome to this super low effort YouTube video about Legend of Zelda tier list. Human beings love lists, and here I am creating another one. List. I just did one, but it was like with, you know, all the remakes and all the off-brand ones, and it was confusing, and I spent 30 minutes creating that video, but now I can't be fucked, so I just, no, let's do a simpler one. So that's what I'm doing. I do another one. We go again. Let's begin. So, what I'm gonna do here, first of all, we don't have the remakes in this one. Should have probably checked before, but no, I don't give a shit. Let's begin. So, this is gonna be obviously the official list of Zelda. This is, you know, Nintendo's backing this list. They have approved it, but it's gonna be with, you know, a modern lens, right? So I have played both the original and I have played Adventure of Link, and I didn't really have a good time. But it's like I could see myself replaying 60 to 70% of the Zelda, you know, main games. I cannot really see myself ever replaying Adventure of Link or the original ever again. Like, they are good games, right, for their time, and they are good games. If we don't have these games, we wouldn't have the rest of the Zelda games. So they are, you know, we appreciate these games. I appreciate these games, but I can never see myself playing them ever again. I was bored, you know. But you know, modern lens, you know, that's what they do. Things improve, and then, you know, hey, right? Let's continue. Oh man, this is hard. What do we have here? Do we have like Wind Waker HD and stuff, or do we just have the originals of every single one? Okay, so I'm just gonna. Since we don't have remakes and stuff, I'm just gonna assume that I'm just gonna tell you, right? So I think some of the remakes are better, and then I think some of the originals are better, right? So since we only have the one version, I'm gonna tell you which one it is, and then we're just gonna rank the version that I think is better. Because again, my list is the official list. So let's just do it with, let's just start. Okay, let's do the Oracle of Ages. So I only played one of these, right? I don't actually remember which one I played, but what I remember of these games is that one is like heavily centered around puzzles, and then one is centered around combat. And I played the one with puzzles. I don't remember which one of these it is, but I do remember that this is Capcom. This was outsourced to Capcom, so this is like Capcom's take on Zelda, and it's kind of weird. I wouldn't say it's quite up there with, you know, it's not as weird as something like Link's Awakening, but it's pretty weird. But it's good enough, you know. But I like, again, like, could I see myself replaying this, you know? No, not really. It's alright. And I don't really remember like which one I played of the puzzle or combat one, but who cares? These are like Game Boy. It was Game Boy Color, right? I think it was. It wasn't Advanced. No. It was Color. It's gotta be, right? Let's continue. Who cares? So, okay, so I'm gonna put like Link's Awakening original. I played the DX version. God damn it, I just scroll down. I played the DX version on, I think it was Game Boy Color as well. No, that one was Advanced, I think, the DX version. But this is, okay, so this is weird. This is gonna be the remake, the Switch remake, right? Because, yeah, this is the Switch remake. It's absolutely the best version of the game. I had a great time, super good game. If I were to rank the original, probably like C. I couldn't see myself playing that again. But the remake was super fun. I had a good time. Like, it had like that perfect balance of respecting the original, but also adding that touch of like modern gameplay and that modern flair. Just fun all the way through. Really silly and just weird, but really fun. I had a good time, and I could see myself replaying that one. And I also did a 100% playthrough on this one because I just had a good time playing it. Minish Cap, I'm going to put behind Link's. I really like it. This is my second favorite handheld Zelda. Again, because this is the Switch remake. Of Link, so this is not a handheld version. Well, unless you play it in handheld Switch, but I never play my Switch in handheld. It's always docked. I have two docks, and it just switches between the docks. I never play handheld, except for when I do. But that's not relevant. So, let's continue. So, yeah, Minish Cap. I like it. It's it's one of my favorites. But I have a lot of favorites, so that doesn't really make sense. But, okay, let's do some weird ones. So, Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. I played them both. I finished them both. So I definitely do think that my favorite in terms of gameplay is Phantom Hourglass. Spirit Tracks got some banger music though. But, you know, like, I could see myself doing something like this just because this is a very experimental time for the Zelda franchise where it was on the DS and the movement is all with stylus and as you can blow into the DS to do puzzles and stuff. Like, it's very creative, and when you're in there doing it, it's very fun. But it's also kind of forgettable a lot of the time, I think. But I think the one that I enjoyed the most was Phantom Hourglass, gameplay wise and just story wise and stuff like that. But I think they're both pretty decent. They're pretty decent games. They're a fun time. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna put them in order like this because they are pretty similar, but at the same time they have pretty. I think Phantom. I might even do like this. I think I'm gonna do that because Phantom Hourglass is pretty memorable to me. But it's still not up there with the rest. Anyway, let's continue. So this is okay. Let's do Link Between Worlds, which is my favorite. That is, you know, I said Minish Cap is my second favorite handheld Zelda game. This is my favorite. It's good. It's what the original, you know, A Link to the Past is, but better. It's just good. It's super good. It's fun. You know, you have a dark world, you have a light world. You know, it's not called that, and then it kind of builds upon this A Link to the Past strength. But it's a lot of nostalgia. You know, made, you know, wrapped into that, you know, A Link Between Worlds, the game. But it's good. It's super good. Like I grew up with a Nintendo 64. And I grew up playing Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and then I grew up with the GameCube, and then I played Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. And then after Twilight Princess, before Skyward Sword, which came out in 2012, I believe? Yeah, 2012. I played, just a few months before that, I played A Link to the Past for the first time ever. So, you know, a lot of this might be nostalgia, but I would still put A Link to the Past all the way up here. But behind Link's Awakening, the Switch remake. I think it's really good, but it's just that I didn't grow up with it, and I don't have the same nostalgia that a lot of people did. That you know, and again, like, this list isn't based on nostalgia, but I can play the Wind Waker today, and I can just have the exact same fun that I had back in the day, right? It's not, you know, it's not my nostalgia goggles, you know, kicking in. Same with Skyward Sword and, you know, all of these Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask when I play the you know, the original versions, right? But when I go back to A Link to the Past, it's okay, but it's also like it's showing its age for me personally, right? And this is also, you know, again, it's looking more, you know, into the with a modern lens, right? If you go like by, you know, when it came out, right? Like, you have to do like stuff like this, right? By the time it came out, but you can't. This is more with a modern lens, and I personally enjoy the Link's Awakening Switch remake more than I did Link to the Past. Sue me, kill me, and I know, like, most people probably put this up here, right? Not most people, but a lot of people do. I don't. But let's continue with some more funny stuff, right? So let's do yeah, right. So here you have the collectors, or like the duo version of Link to the Past and Four Swords. This was a Game Boy Advance release, and I'm gonna put Four Swords in B. Okay, if I do that, then I definitely have to do this, I think. Yeah, no, I do. No, I'll do it like this. So Four Swords is like, if you play that game alone, which I don't even remember if you can. Do you need, like, there's definitely a single player aspect to it. Do you play with bots? I don't even remember. What I remember is that I did play this on like 1 year after release. And I played it with a friend, and it was a pretty good time. It was pretty fun, right? It uses the Minish Cap engine. It came out just right around the same time of Inishcap, 1 year later, I think. So it's the same engine and same, it's very similar, right? But it's co-op. Up to 4 players, and it's actually just a good time. I played it with one other person. I can't, it's playing it with 4 friends, couch co-op. That sounds really exhausting. That sounds awful. But I played it with one friend. It was really fun. So just could I see myself replaying this again? Absolutely. If I had a friend that wanted to replay it, And dude, imagine if we get like a, because gotta think, right? They have remade Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, Link's Awakening, right? Link's Awakening out of all Zelda games got remade. You gotta think that sometime soon we might see a little Link to the Past, right? And then that's gonna be huge, right? That would be huge. If that happens. But that's, if that happens, that's probably a few years away, because first they're gonna focus on Tears of the Kingdom, which is out in a month. Wow. Anyway, let's continue with this stuff. Right, now I'm confused. Which version is this again? This is just straight up the Four Swords Adventure thing, right? Which one is this again? I don't know. I don't remember which. Isn't this the... Wait, 2002? Is this the GameCube? Wasn't there like a GameCube collector's thing? And then you had Link to the Past and Four Swords? Is this a GameCube version of this is the... No, because this game was on GameCube and then you played it with the Game Boy Advance connector thingy, right? I don't remember how I played this. I think one friend... I played with a GameCube and then my friend played with like a Game Boy Advance connector to the GameCube. I'm just gonna keep that one here. Doesn't really matter, because we have A Link to the Past here and we have Four Swords here. But yeah, same thing. It applies to the same game. Okay. Let's do Twilight Princess. I'm gonna put Twilight Princess in a good old A. It's probably at the top here. In A. It's good. It's good all the way through. It's a fucking solid Zelda adventure, and it's what you would expect from a Zelda adventure, unless you are in 2017 and Breath of the Wild releases and the entirety of the Zelda conventions are just blown out the window. But it's it's a good ass Zelda game. It's and obviously this is going to be the HD remake, right? Just looks better. Plays better? I think it plays the exact same, right? It has some new features with like the cave, the amiibo cave, whatever challenge thing, and then you could use that same amiibo, which I have, the Wolf Link amiibo. You could use that in Breath of the Wild, and yeah, whatever. But yeah, but what do you say about it? It's just a glosh down good game, but it doesn't really quite reach up there compared to other games. But it's like it could be here. It could be at the end of this, or it could be. I'm just gonna put it in A. I think it's just a solid fucking Zelda adventure, but it doesn't really hit the same spots that the rest of the games do for me. So let's move on to something like Skyward Sword, which I think is right behind. And this is also going to be the HD version of Skyward Sword that was released on Switch. So when this game came out, a lot of people were reporting that they had a lot of issues with the motion controls. And to be fair, that's a big thing, right? This game is like very 50-50 if you hate it or love it, right? I personally love it because I never really had an issue. There were times where like it would, when you're shooting an arrow or something or controlling the beetle, there were times where it would like lose its synchronization. But the thing that I just don't get it, because you just press the D-pad down and it recenters again, right? That's what the button is for. It was just fail-safe if it wouldn't do that, right? So that's why I'm really confused about this. A lot of people saying the motion controls won't do what I do because it won't point, right? And it won't, do what I tell it to do. But just press the D-pad down, bro, and then it's gonna recenter. You can be sitting and pointing to the right, and if you press D-pad down, it's gonna perfectly center the TV. But anyway, I never had an issue with them, and I just had a good time. And it felt even better, right? Playing it on the Switch, and it was a good time. So you could play on the Switch. You could play either with motion controls, and they also made a new control scheme, right? With thumbsticks, as you can slide, like you can you know, slide it up or down, and you would play it that way. I still chose to play with motion controls because it was just a good time. It's so different, and it's just a good game. It's just a really good game. But the linearity and the backtracking and a lot of the motion controls is not like, I think straight up, I think I would have more fun. I think I do have more fun with combat in Skyward Sword than I do in Twilight Princess. Not to say that any of these are better than the other, it's just subjective, but I do think I have more fun with it just because it is more different, it's more, you know. But the world building, the dungeon design. Okay, so one point for Skyward Sword is dungeon design. I think Skyward Sword dungeons are the best in the entire series, but the rest of the game, when you're not in a dungeon, I think it kind of drops the ball a little bit, especially when you're doing like the stuff leading to a temple, you know, unlocking a temple, and the backtracking, especially when you're done with the first 3. It's a lot of, it's the linear part is kind of, I think it drops the ball a little bit, but still fucking good. And you could argue this goes here, this goes here, but I think I like Twilight Princess HD a little bit more than Skyward Sword, but they're super close, and they're both, I love them both. Anyway, let's continue with Ocarina of Time. So this one's interesting. So I truly believe that the Ocarina of Time 3D version is the best version of the game. Now, I think it's really close because I like both versions. But I do think straight up, if you have never played a Zelda game and you want to play Ocarina of Time or whatever, I think the 3DS version is the version you want to play. Or you could also, Nintendo, close your eyes, you could also play the Ocarina of Time PC port, which is a 60 FPS, you know, fully moddable, you know, version of Ocarina of Time on PC, which, you know, that might be the best version today to play Ocarina of Time with, absolutely, right? But I think if you know, we're just gonna officially released, right? 3DS version, I think, is my personal favorite one. But then let's continue, right? Then I think the original Majora's Mask is the best one. I wouldn't put 3DS Majora's Mask here. So it's 3DS Ocarina of Time, but original Majora's Mask. In this order as well, because I Ocarina of Time is my favorite over Majora's Mask. But that one's also close, right? It's probably as close as Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword. Let's zoom in a little bit, because why are we doing this? It's really close, super close. Sometimes I feel like this, sometimes I feel like this, but most of the times I feel like this. Right, just to get into like small details on why I think what I think here. So the reason I think the 3DS version here is better than the original for Ocarina of Time is that it basically, and it just enhances the game straight up. I don't really think they removed a lot. It's just a version that is visually superior. It plays a little better, and it looks and feels better. While so I straight up just think it is the better version. Now, when it comes to Majora's Mask, it's the same thing, and it's a very, very, very impressive remake, just like OOT, right? But the thing is that a lot of things, like in OOT, things were just enhanced. In Majora's Mask, you have things being enhanced, but you have also things being changed, and not always for the better, you know? We all know about the Sora swimming, but this could be a video on its own. I'm not going to go too much into it, but there's a lot of things removed in this game that wasn't just like a pretty paint of coat of paint, whatever, that, you know, added to the game and made to feel and looking better. It removed and changed fundamental aspects of the game that made it what it was. And for that reason, I do believe that the Majora's Mask original version is better than the 3DS version. But then again, like, it's not by a much or anything like that. The 3DS version is still a good version, right? It's still super good, right? But just I truly believe you can't tell me that you enjoy the 3DS Sora swimming more than the original. You go fucking zooming in the original. Anyway, that's what I think. So now there's 2 left, because we just, you know, disregard this, because we have 4 Swords and then we have Link to the Past here. So let's do Breath of the Wild. Yeah, good game. Breath of the Wild's a good game. I'm excited for Tears of the Kingdom. I just had a video up, my last video uploaded on YouTube. It's a video where I kind of on stream react to my initial reactions to the Tears of the Kingdom gameplay. And it's not a very positive video. Not to say that I'm not excited for the game, super excited for the game, but you know, I have a lot of criticism on how marketing and stuff has been handled and blah blah blah. But yeah, Breath of the Wild is one of those games. So Breath of the Wild, how I would sum it up in just a really quick way is that the things that Breath of the Wild gets right, it does to the point of near perfection. But there's a few things it doesn't do right, I think. It's subjective, right? What you want in an open world or don't want, right? Or how you play open world games. But I think like what it does right, it completely nails to like near perfection. But it's not but like again, and then it has a lot of flaws. I think it's not a perfect game like everybody claims it to be. It's got a lot of flaws, which could be a video on its own. So I'm not going to get into the, you know, all of that, but I think even regardless of those flaws, it's still one of my favorite games of all time. Just because the experience, the positives in that game are so positive that it almost completely, entirely overshadows the flaws for me. But it's not the case. It doesn't overshadow the flaws because the flaws are there and sometimes it annoys me. But, you know, side quest. Name one side quest that was worth doing outside of Tarrytown. And you could even argue that Tarrytown was kind of, you know, watered down, you know, if you compare it to Majora's Mask side quests and stuff like that. Name one side quest in Breath of the Wild that was worth doing outside of Tarrytown. I've all the 100 side quests. Which one was worth it? Was it the 5th one where you collect the wood or the 10th one where you collect another flower, right? You know, it doesn't... That's one aspect I hope they really fucking nail in Tears of the Kingdom. Give us some, you know, characters and cool side quests and, you know, stuff like that. But good game. I love it. I have 350, 60 hours something. Between 350 and 70 hours I have in Breath of the Wild. So, you know, I have a lot of thoughts on the game. And I could probably talk about it for, you know, in a video for 3 hours, but I'm not going to do that. But Wind Waker is my favorite Zelda game of all time. And I did that wrong. Let's try that again. Here we go. Wind Waker is my favorite Zelda game of all time because it completely encapsulates what I love in games, which is adventure. And this game just screams adventure. Now, it's not one of the most... how do I put this? It's not one of the most, you know, designed games ever. It's very simple. You know, it's super simple. The combat is what it is, and you know, in Zelda games, it's never about combat. And you know, the story is kind of simple. You know, is adventure, but it's what this. I would even say that a lot of the time, Wind Waker, even though you're just sailing from one island to the other, I would say a lot of the times that Wind Waker does exploration. Not always, because exploration in Breath of the Wild is amazing, right? But Wind Waker sometimes does it better because it really feels like you're just all the way through. You feel like you're on an adventure, and I also love the sea. And just it's my favorite Zelda game. And Wind Waker Link, the Hero of the Wind, is my favorite incarnation of Link. It has my favorite music in the whole series, and it's definitely the version of Hyrule that I appreciate the most. Yeah, and it's just a great time. Like, again, this one's not perfect. I would say that this one has a lot of faults as well. You know, it becomes a little... I know, as well, I forgot about this. This is obviously the HD version. Obviously, because this one just adds, right? There's nothing removed, it's just adds. It's just better, straight up. It looks pretty. You could argue maybe a little too much bloom. But I think it looks really fucking pretty. You know, it's a remake of a GameCube game, and it's one of the prettiest games I have ever seen. Maybe not anymore because we're in 2023 and games are really fucking impressive looking today, but man, Wind Waker HD is something special. And that's it. I could talk about individually, I could talk about especially the games from A and S. I could talk about individually. I could talk about them for ages, you know, for hours. I'm not gonna do that. This is the official Zelda tier list. Officially approved by Nintendo. And that's it. That's the video. Hope you enjoyed this little super high effort video that I put. I opened the website and I clicked the Zelda tier list, and then I did it. I already did this. You know, I did it once, as I said earlier in the video. I did it once, but then it was too fucking confusing because it had every single ever game. You know, it had the CDI games. It had 5 different versions of every single game, and the remakes and non-remakes. And I was like, you know, where do I do? So then we did it the simpler version. So now, you know, so it's Wind Waker HD, Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time 3D, Majora's Mask, Original, Twilight Princess HD, Wind Waker HD. Basically everything is everything here is the remake, basically, except for Majora's Mask. Yeah, that's an easier way to put it. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. That's me. Big lists. We love lists, don't we? Anyway, bye bye. Peace out.